Hi everyone and welcome to Triple M Adventures with Bill. This video was prompted by one of my subscribers who was asking about the 6 buttons that you have on the top of your RadioMaster TX16S. That's the ones up here, and what the uses of those would be for. So there aren't many uses that I could actually think of. One of them was that you could set it up in Betaflight for your quads so that you can have different rates, and I did do that. I did set it up, but it wouldn't work. It seems that Betaflight will only use a 3-position switch so that you can go to rate profile 1, rate profile 2, rate profile 3. And then I got to thinking about the fixed wing planes. So what I decided to do to demonstrate this and how it works, how those 6 buttons works, was to set up flaps with 6 different flap rates. So in other words, 0, and then I went from 30, then 40, 50, 60 and 70. So let's take a look at OpenTX and on the computer, and we'll see how this is done. Now we need to open up my backup of my TX16S, and there you can see 6-position switch. Now what I did was set up global variables so that you could go in and change them. Rather than just putting set values for each one, I've set up the global variables. So you could actually set them to 0, so the part of the switch, say switch position 6, doesn't work. So if we go to flight modes, you can see here there are the GVs, 30, 40, 50, 60 and 70. Then we're going to go on to the mixes. Now there's quite a lot to do here to get this to work, or at least the way I've done it, because obviously with OpenTX there are many ways to get to the same result, but this is how I did it. So you can see channel 6 and channel 7 are your flaps. So obviously this is just the reverse. It depends on how the servos are installed in your aeroplane to how this will be minus or plus. So if we go to channel 6, in the first position, which is 6-position switch 1, there will be, your weight has to be 100% and your offset 100%. In other words, the servo is in its middle position, or 0, because we've got minus 100 and then we go up to plus 100. So this would put the flap in normal position up in 0. Okay, then we go on to these lines here. You can see there's switch position 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and you can see the GVs there, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which relate to these here. So we go up to 70%, 30 to 70%. So I'm just going to take a look at one of those, and you'll see in there we have to have a weight of 0, and we then, the offset will be the global variable value. So in this case it's global variable 1, and then you just pick the 6-position switch position 2, and then that carries on through the rest of the settings. You can see source is the 6-position switch, and then we've got a weight of 0, and then you can now see it's GV2 on the offset, and then you pick select switch SP3, and that carries on, and you can see it's quite clearly there how to do this. Once you can do one, you can set up the other. Then we go on to the second channel, or second servo for your flap on your opposite wing, and these are just minus. They're minus figures because we've now to put weight minus 100 and minus 100 so that that is in the middle position. And then we go on to the second one, and you can see now they are minus GV1, but then you pick the 6-position switch in position 2, and so far you carry on, and you can see the different settings there. So if we go to mix here now what did this say? I came up with a problem which was really strange. I was trying to when I was setting this up and I wanted to simulate the radio within OpenTX, I couldn't get it to work. It was giving all sorts of funny figures, and it got me thinking. Now when I first got the RadioMaster TX16S, I did calibrate the radio. It's the first thing I do is calibrate it, and it gave me such grief trying to get this to work, and this does not make logical sense, because obviously there would be a 20% gap between each of those 6 settings from 1 to 6, and it wasn't doing that. Anyway, then I realized, okay, I'm going to recalibrate the radio, and as soon as I calibrated the radio, when I did the calibration, pushing each of those 6 buttons, which I normally do anyway, it then started to work. But anyway, let's have a look and demonstrate it here. I'm going to hit the model button twice. So if I go to the S6P switch, there you can see we've got no flaps. We're in the center position. If I click first one, you see now it's giving 35, and it isn't. When it's on the radio, it's 30. So let's just, it's like you have to reset this. Okay, let's try again. Okay, so we're going to go to, see, that would be right, that would be 70, and then we're coming back round 50, 70, that one should be 50, 60, it's not going to it. You see, there's something strange about the OpenTX simulation that doesn't seem to appear to like this. Let's try again. That should be 0. That's saying 34%. This is saying 40, 50, 60. That would be correct, and 70. That's correct. So go back. 60, 50. This one should be 40. This one should be 40. This one is 30, and that should be no flap. You see, there's some anomaly with the OpenTX companion. I'm actually going to email the dev guys to explain this to them, you know, what's happening. Well, I'll actually show them this video to show what it's doing. But when these settings have been transferred to my radio, they work fine. Okay, so now you can see that working. Let's switch over to the radio so you can see the settings on there, and I can confirm that it is actually working correctly. Now let's take a look at the settings on the radio. I'm going to go into the model button. I'm going to push the model button again so that we can see the flaps operating. So there you can see the flaps are up. Number 2 is 30%. Number 3 is 40. 4 is 50. 5 is 60, and then 70. Now if we come back out, we go to the settings, we'll have a quick look at those. It's too far. So the first line, you can see the weight is 100% and the offset's 100%. Now you could change this to, let's put it back to position 1. You see, there's many ways of doing things. So you see there I've changed the weight and the offset to 0. So now in position 1, the flaps are in the middle position. So there's many ways of doing things. But that gives you one example. In my example, I put a weight of 100 and the offset as 100, which is obviously comes back to 0. So you could leave it as that. And then we're going to go on to the second line. And in here, I've got weight 0. And then the offset is the GV value 1, and that's in switch position 6. This in position 2, which is there. That's giving us the 30%. And we can go into the same on the channel 7, and we can edit that as well. We can change this to 0. As I said, there are many ways to get to the same result with OpenTX. But this might be a better way of doing this to show that it's actually zeroed. It's in the 0 position. There we go. So we go position 1, and we can see at the bottom 0, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. And there we go. Now let's take a look at my test rig so that you can see the flaps in operation. Now let's take a look at my test rig. You can see my ailerons are working. Now if I go, I'm in switch position 1 on my radio, so the flaps are in the normal position. If I go 2, and you can see they're slowly dropping, or we can jump from one to the other, doesn't matter. But that's full flaps on number 6, and number 1 is the flaps in the neutral position. As I said earlier, I can't see many applications for using the 6-position switch. I've not used it in any of my quadcopters or my aeroplanes since I've had the ability to have those switches. But this at least gives you some idea of how to set it up and how it actually works. Thanks for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you really enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below, because I'd love to hear from you. And please share this video with your friends. And please consider becoming a patron of my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Happy flying. Bye for now. Bye-bye.